Hello everyone, my name is Marina and this is Tribecast episode 8. Let me remind you that Tribecast is an independent media powered by Tribe Tampere community. And you know what else is organized by Tribe Tampere family? It's the event that rocked Pakahuoni in Tampere 6th of March. It's TribeX. TribeX and Startup World Cup are the topics I would like to discuss with my guests this week. However, there are lots of other things we have talked about this week. Today you'll hear the interview with Rein Lemberpuu, who was one of the speakers during TribeX, followed by interviews with Eran Jarkoni and representatives of Layet, Kristiina Atsinki and Juho Arnen. Let's get started. This week we're having a very special guest, just fresh from the stage, still maybe feeling the microphone in his hands. Hello, Rein. Thank you very much for having this interview with me today. Can I ask you to tell a few things about your background?
Yes, for sure. Good to be here. Yes, first of all, I'm Rein Lemberpuu, and I'm from Estonia, based in Tartu. I've lived all my life in Tartu, and I find this very fascinating to actually run many projects, not from the capital, but having a little bit detached view because of the location. If I would say a few words about my background, I think obviously first things that come to my mind is the being an entrepreneur. I think I've been part of 20 plus companies and organizations. I am mostly being the leader of the organizations, either CEO or leading the NGOs and so on. And the connection with the startup ecosystem actually started once we built 2 hubs in Tartu for renting office space, co-working space, event space, and everything, which led to angel investments and so on.
I know that you're also part, correct me if I'm wrong, you're also part of the organization called SBahn.
Yes, I've been SBahn board member and president for a couple of years now. And SBahn is a Estonian Business Angel Association, meaning that actually it's just a group of angels, a network of 125 angels looking for find good deals. If I understand
the idea of SBahn right, it means that early stage startup or not that early stage startup can turn to your organization and say like, hey, I have this idea, can you sponsor me? Can you invest in me?
Basically, yes. Obviously, actually, angels are not the first, not necessarily the first money to company. There's this triple F round usually called that goes before, which means that also Estonian angels are no exception. They would like to see some MVP or something ready. So it's not just an idea, or you have some first customers or something going on, and you have a team. There are people fully committed, or if it's just one person and the idea, it's a little bit too early.
In your experience, like how long time does it take for a startup to be ready to turn to investors?
Well, there is no general rule. Mm-hmm. Obviously, first of all, if you already have startup experience before, I've seen startups in Estonia who just put together a pitch deck and then raised 2 million. But this is because they were the ex-CEO of Skype. Okay, so they have the experience. So there's a meaning that it doesn't necessarily have to start same way for everyone. But if it's a really fresh team and having their first startup and don't have the background knowledge and haven't worked in startup before that, then I think it takes about a year. If you have been in the ecosystem, either part of some other startup, you can count months before you get something investment ready. But also there's the other extreme. People will bootstrap for 7 years. Then take off, and we have excellent startup in Estonia, which started this way. Yeah, Toggle is a classical story of bootstrapping, and they did it for 5-7 years before they actually crossed the 10 million in revenue benchmark. But now they already have made 3 companies the same way, without using any capital actually.
That's impressive. How would you generally comment on the current situation of Estonian startup ecosystem?
I think it's booming. That's, if to pick one word, there are more founders, there are more ideas, going on in the market. The amount of events dedicated for startups is the biggest. Last year was the record year for investment side. I think it's becoming more popular.
And how is it different, or is it not different at all from Finnish startup ecosystem?
I think these two ecosystems pretty similar, actually. There's just a difference in size. And obviously, Finnish ecosystem is much more mature in many senses, especially from the capital market view. But if I would think about what's different, I think one of the things which is different is the founders in Estonia don't have this kind of sense of security, meaning that there is very little kind of public money available for grant-based equity-free money that you can use. Investors also would like you to see that you have some paying customers, and so they are kind of really forced. They want having to sell, and there's no time to waste, in a sense that it's not that, okay, I got this grant for 100K, I can maybe try some experiments with the product side and so on. I think that kind of one differentiator. And obviously the second one, big one, is that the Estonian market is non-existing for startups, that they need to go out day one, so that you can start in Estonia and then I will go to Germany. So if you really want to do something, then you need to go to Germany first.
So did I get you right that you believe that Finnish startups can start in Finland and then just work inside the country?
There's more opportunities for that. Obviously, still quite many Estonian startups do the same. You do the local market, you try out but the pressure to go out is actually from day one.
Okay, and speaking of events, TribeX kind of officially ended or proceeded into this Silicon Viking Startup World Cup, so we can start summarizing something. What are your feelings about TribeX?
How was the event?
Yeah.
It was quick. I just got used to that, okay, now is that we will have an event, and especially because I was also speaking 2 times, then for me, it's quicker than actually being, in the audience and seeing that side. And I think it's like a classical startup event. And it's kind of feels to me that this is, a necessary groundwork, in a sense that you need to have that type of events to actually, build something that over time becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. I was thinking that it's bigger event because compared to Tartu, Tampere is twice the size of Tartu. So I thought maybe the audience will be also twice the size of this type of event, but it's actually quite the same.
Have you been present during Tartu Startup Day?
Yes.
Okay, and you mean that the audience there was twice bigger than today?
No, Startup Day is completely from a different scale event. It's almost 4,000 people.
Okay.
But I'm talking about kind of community events that we do locally. No, event that is not meant to attract people from Latvia or Tallinn or Finland.
Right. And what shall we expect, in your opinion, from Startup World Cup, which is ongoing now?
I have no experience with Startup World Cup. I've seen a lot of pitching competitions. So I think the main idea for any startup to think about if they go to a pitch competition or pitching event is the publicity, obviously, but you also need to take into account that usually it's the top 3 or 5 will get most of the attention, and the rest is pretty difficult to get themselves to the picture.
And speaking of pitching, when investors are looking on a startup, pitching their ideas to them, what are they looking at? How do you stand out of the crowd and get the money?
I think it's a very difficult question to just kind of summarize it. First of all, it depends what do you have unique in your, sometimes you have a unique business model. Sometimes you have unique team, configuration. Sometimes there is a unique technical solution that you are, you need to have something that kind of catches the eye of the investor or the ear of the investor. And it's different for everyone. Sometimes it's just the CEO or the one who is doing the pitching, the co-founder who is taking on the fundraising side of this of the equation. But there needs to be something. And I think for me personally, I'm really interested how much this person is connected to two extremes. From one end, I'm interested in how much they are grounded in reality. Because, all startups start up in the bubble and they don't, they think everything is easy breezy and, you just...
In utopia.
Yes, in somewhere in dream world. But the other extreme is that they still need to have a vision that goes beyond this current reality. So that you need to be rooted in the current reality, but you need to be visioning to the future. What is the potential, what this idea can grow into. And the better you are kind of rooted in the current reality and the longer view you have in the future, that's something I'm looking forward, because sometimes, people are either lacking one end or the other end or both ends. Then it's pretty difficult to understand. It becomes an average in my eye.
And in your opinion, what is the biggest challenge for an early stage startup? What stops them from becoming big and successful?
Every startup stage has their own challenges, but I think if we would really take from day one, then the first challenge is obviously getting the team to work together and even getting the team committed, because usually, there is a good idea and then you find a couple of people who like the idea, and but this doesn't mean that they are actually ready to go in full time. And working out all those relationships with whom, how and when, and are they willing to commit, and how, all those kind of formation of the team is the first crucial thing. I think there's a lot of startups that actually fail, even, getting this team together and all fully committed. In Estonia, we run a lot of hackathons. There's Garage 4 days running like 10 hackathons, almost like maybe even more than 100 in a year, not only in Estonia, but also in many other countries. And I've been working with them also over the years. And what I see is that the teams that, actually get formed in those events, and there is like a gap before this actually turns into a startup. Even though they did extremely well in the hackathon, the idea was good, they, maybe won the hackathon, this doesn't guarantee anything, because now the struggle to form a team only starts.
Speaking of teams and their formation, did I get you right that you believe in diversity team, in a sense that it's good to have team consisting of different nationalities?
Eventually, yes. But I would be careful in terms of diversity. I'm saying that diversity is like a double-edged sword, meaning that on one hand, it definitely makes your team stronger. But on the other side, it's also bringing extra challenges, meaning that you will, there is extra energy that has to be spent on maintaining those relationships. So actually, I would say that maybe the first 3 members of a team don't need to be that diverse, okay? And then you can bring more diversity in, because if you bring very different people and from different nationalities, I'm pretty sure this team will die before they get to this, work out all the, way of operating together.
Or maybe you need an intercultural specialist who will just, cooperate and manage all the communication.
Usually this means that you need to have it in-house. Then someone has to be working in that kind of environment that knows how to do that. Otherwise, it's pretty much a struggle, even if it's like if the people kind of know each other and are more similar, even then the capabilities of leadership people don't have when they are born, so you need to develop those. So if it's your first team you're managing, then you need to learn from scratch, and it's a pretty difficult road actually.
Okay, how did you learn it?
Learning by doing. So yes, it was. I think I started also as a developer, and I think then in a year's time I started to manage a team of 9 people. This team grew to 30 people. And then obviously the company was really, really growing fast. And a year later already, I was managing 3 departments with 3 teams, 70-something people. Mm-hmm. And this grew to 350 people organization eventually. So that's kind of, where I've learned all those different skills required to actually manage different size of, and the different kind of configuration of teams as well.
Okay, I got your point, and thank you very much for being with us today, and hope you enjoy the rest of the networking, speaking, and general everything which is the Startup World Cup.
Thank you for inviting.
And today we're having Kristiina Atsi